So I finally managed to do another book review. It's taken me quite a while to get this one done, but I'm actually really surprised with how many views the other one got, because initially I only made it to help out a school book club, but now it's got like 400 views on it, and I had a few comments as well saying that people really enjoyed it, asking me if I could do another one. So yeah, I finally found the time to do one, and summer's coming up, I'll have a bit more free time. So it's definitely something I'll make more of it if it's something that people are enjoying. So what I'm going to review today is An Inspector Calls by J.B. Priestley. Now actually this is a play, and it's one that is often studied for GCSEs. But despite being like a commonly studied GCSE text, it's actually really approachable, and I think quite an enjoyable play too. It's not really very complex. There's only 6 characters in the whole thing. And yeah, I think it's a play that a lot of people would enjoy. So it was written in 1945 but set in 1912, which were kind of the opposite of each other in terms of, at the end of the Second World War in 1945, there was a lot of social change, and none of this was present in 1912. So Priestley, he essentially offers a social commentary into the time of 1912. He comments on class system, inequalities, morals, that kind of thing. And despite being such a simple play, it's one that in terms of audience engagement has a huge impact. So it really forces the audience to engage, it forces the audience to reflect on their own actions and the way that they can influence other people. So it's one that I think is really important. It's quite an important play. It takes place in one room of the Burling household. So that's like Mr. and Mrs. Burling and their children, Sheila Burling and Eric Burling. The play also features Gerald Croft, who is engaged to Sheila. And what happens is there has been a suicide of a young girl called Eva Smith, and an inspector calls at the Burling's house to speak to all of them and uncover the truth behind what's caused this girl to commit suicide. Each member of the family, they have a different role to play in this girl's death. And I think the inspector, Priestley has used him to represent his own views and what he stands for, so like equality and the importance of community. It's made very clear through the inspector's almost preacher-like tone that this is what he stands for. So each character, so Mr. and Mrs. Burling, Sheila and Eric and Gerald, they're all forced to confess one by one what they have done to this girl that has led to her suicide. And I think as an audience member, as someone who's reading or watching, it's almost impossible not to start ranking each character and thinking about, who was more to blame, which actions were worse, so it gets you engaged in that sense. And I think it's interesting because some characters really accept their responsibility. They feel awful about what's happened, and they apologise for what they've done. Obviously they can't make up for it, but they feel terrible about it, and it shows, really shows the impact of your own actions on other people. And there are other characters in the play who just, they feel like they were completely justified in what they did to her. They don't accept any responsibility, and they just don't take any of the responsibility for their actions. So I think Priestley has really effectively shown his dislike here for economic systems like capitalism, which for him that clearly represents greed and selfishness, and this is presented in the play in a variety of ways through specific characters. And the more capitalist characters are the ones who are very selfish and don't accept their responsibility. So I would really recommend this play to anyone who likes to think. So for a play that's so simple in characters and narrative, as I've said, it has a huge impact on the audience. The audience is forced to think about Priestley's message and to think about your own behaviour as someone in society. You're really made to think about the actions that you have and how they can impact somebody else's life. Although it's written almost 80 years ago, it's something that's hugely, hugely important in the modern day, with suicide rates through the roof and so many people suffering from mental health conditions. It's a play that really forces you to kind of get your morals in order and think about the impact that you have, which is not a bad thing for anyone to do, and definitely something that people probably need to do more of, I would say. So despite kind of the slightly dark content in terms of like there being a suicide, I think it is really suitable for a wide range of ages. As I've mentioned, it's often on the GCSE spec, so that means it's studied by Year 8 and Year 9 students too. There's also some upsetting themes, issues around like exploitation and abuse, which all lead to this girl's suicide. But generally, it's accessible for teenagers, and it will definitely be enjoyed by adults as well. And some of them may have a bit more understanding of like context and in terms of important events that have happened, or the idea of capitalism and the influence that that has on the play. But it's not difficult for anyone to grasp, even like young teenagers. So it's a short play as well. It's only 3 acts and I think 72 pages in the copy of the book that I have. So it's one that can be easily read in a couple of days. As I've said, it's a play that leaves you thinking and questioning everything. So despite being quite short and simplistic, it's a play I definitely recommend. It's worth mentioning too that there is a slight twist or ambiguity near the end, which adds to the questioning that you'll inevitably do as a reader, and it definitely adds an element of excitement to the play, an almost supernatural feel, which is quite interesting and appealing to a lot of other people. So if you have read this already, or if you go on to read this, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on any of the characters or just your opinion on the play overall. So please feel free to ask me any questions if you want to discuss anything, or if you want any more information on something specific in the play. I'm happy to have your comments and to help you out. So if you have any recommendations or any books that you would like me to review, then please feel free to leave that in the comments as well, and I will do my best to get onto it, or if I've read it already, I'll do a review probably sooner. But yeah, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this, and I really do hope you go on to read it, because it's a play that I think has a big impact on the audience, and it is good to be made to think about the way that your actions influence the lives of others in a world where we want to promote kindness and we want to treat others in a respectful way, that, you know, the way that we would like to be treated. And this play really forces you to think about that and to actively, I think, question your behaviour and change the way that you think, which is, I think, a really positive thing. So thank you very much for listening. As I said, I hope you enjoyed it, and please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.